The cold, metallic tang of the Manta Men's armor felt alien, yet strangely familiar against the slick, damp rock of the cavern. Arthur, king of Atlantis, found himself standing shoulder to shoulder with the very soldiers who, just days before, had been his sworn enemies. Their distinctive black and silver suits, usually symbols of aggression and destruction, now stood as an unlikely shield. His own trident, a beacon of Atlantean royalty, seemed to hum with a confused energy in this bizarre assembly. "Maintain your positions," Arthur commanded, his voice echoing with a low, steady authority that surprised even himself, especially when directed at these particular troops. A Manta Man, designated Unit 7, nodded stiffly, its helmeted gaze unwavering. This was it. This was the moment where the lines blurred, where necessity forged the most improbable of alliances. The situation was dire. Across the globe, Atlantean sleeper agents, long dormant and spread across land, were awakening, their minds warped, their purpose twisted by an insidious, unknown command. They were ticking time bombs, poised to unleash chaos on the surface world, and in doing so, incite a catastrophic war with Atlantis. There was little time, and even fewer options. In a hidden research outpost, far from the prying eyes of the surface world or the watchful gaze of hostile Atlanteans, Mara and Jackson were working with furious intensity. Their mission, to construct a sophisticated transmitter capable of emitting a precise deactivation signal. This signal, if successful, would cascade across the globe, reaching every single sleeper agent and shutting down their dangerous programming before they could inflict irreparable damage. It was a race against the clock, a desperate gamble for peace. But the process was delicate, time-consuming, and fraught with peril. It required an interim period, a critical window during which the emerging sleeper agents might launch preemptive strikes or draw attention. And that's where Arthur's impossible choice came into play. With his own forces stretched thin, and with the immediate threat looming, he made a decision that would send ripples through the annals of Atlantean history. He sought out the one force powerful enough, and perhaps chaotic enough, to stand in the breach. Black Manta's soldiers, the Manta Men. It was an act of profound strategic compromise, a deal struck in desperation. The king of Atlantis, leading the forces of his most bitter nemesis. Imagine the internal conflict Arthur must have felt, setting aside generations of animosity, the personal pain, the deep-seated distrust. Yet the stakes were too high. The survival of Atlantis, the peace of the surface world, hung in the balance. So he took command, directing patrols, setting up defensive perimeters, ensuring that no sleeper agent could slip through their net and cause a premature incident. The air during those tense hours was thick with unspoken questions, with the weight of an unholy alliance. Finally, a transmission came through. Mara's voice, strained but triumphant, announced the successful completion of the transmitter. Moments later, across the world, sleeper agents, mid-stride, mid-thought, simply froze. Their eyes cleared, their bodies relaxed, the malevolent programming lifted. A wave of profound collective relief washed over Arthur and his unlikely troops. They had done it. The deactivation signal had worked. The immediate threat was averted. But then the news came. A single, chilling anomaly. One sleeper agent, a man known only as Bob Moss, remained unaffected. The signal that had brought thousands back from the brink had somehow failed to penetrate his corrupted mind. Perhaps it was a unique physiological quirk or a subtle variation in his programming, but the why was less important than the terrifying reality. Bob Moss was still active, still dangerous, and now singularly focused. He was a ghost in the machine, a ripple in the calm waters. With the other agents neutralized, Bob Moss became Atlantis' singular, devastating problem. He moved with a relentless, terrifying precision. He bypassed the re-established Atlantean security protocols, navigated the intricate underwater currents, and, unbelievably, managed to infiltrate the very heart of the Atlantean capital. The council chambers, usually a place of solemn debate and wise counsel, became the stage for an unimaginable horror. Bob Moss, driven by his unyielding, twisted directive, found his way into the core of Atlantean governance. In a final, desperate act of defiance and destruction, he initiated a suicide bombing within the chamber itself. The ensuing explosion was catastrophic. It tore through the hollowed halls, shattering ancient stonework, and, more tragically, extinguished the lives of the entire Atlantean Council. Every single member, a beacon of wisdom, tradition, and leadership for the underwater kingdom, was gone in an instant. It was a devastating end to Arthur's high-stakes gamble. He had successfully averted a global war. He had saved countless lives on the surface and in Atlantis from the widespread chaos of the sleeper agents. Yet, in that success, lay the seed of an unforeseen, unimaginable tragedy. One solitary failure, one unaffected sleeper, had undone a critical piece of Atlantis' foundation. This story of Arthur's desperate gamble, of the strange alliance with the Mantimen, and of the single fatal flaw in an otherwise successful plan serves as a poignant reminder. Even when leaders make the most agonizing, necessary choices, even when they succeed against impossible odds, the unpredictable nature of fate, or the precise, devastating impact of a single anomaly, can still lead to profound and lasting sorrow. The king had saved the world, but Atlantis was left reeling, its leadership decapitated, its future plunged into an uncertain void, all thanks to one man named Bob Moss. What are your thoughts on Arthur's difficult choices here and the tragic outcome that followed? Share your perspectives in the comments below. If you found this story compelling, please consider following for more deep dives into the unexpected corners of incredible narratives.